Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to SA Accounting Academy. Here's a short clip on one of our previous webinars. I hope that you really do enjoy it.
People will be able to buy later on. And for those of you that are with us today, I really do thank you. Please bear with Bronwyn and I today. And it's actually something that will be, I think it's a good thing to record, especially doing public sector. Absolutely. But we are actually in the Midlands. We're in Pietermaritzburg at the moment, literally in the heart of all the unrest and in the heart of all the civil disturbance at the moment. And we have got blockades and we've got riots and looters just kilometers from us. So we are here, and I think this is sort of the call to come and do what you're doing. And I think the ultimate in professionalism that we are rocking up and we're doing this, and typical South African fortitude. But please also just forgive us a little bit and give us a bit of grace today, because it is a difficult day for us. Our husbands are out making sure that we are safe and making sure that we have food supply and that we can continue and be a good South African, take us forward. So we are very passionate about public sector. We're very passionate about the government and about making things work. And we are living literally in the heart of when it doesn't work and what happens when it doesn't work. And so with that, as you know from our previous sessions, today we're actually doing the public finance management processes. So we're actually doing more of the PFMA and the treasury management sessions, more of a technical session. I have to say I had to do a webinar yesterday, and it actually grounds you a little bit to be a bit of normal. But anyway, so thank you for being with us, and thank you for the support. So just for those of you that want to know a bit more about us, our bios are in the notes. I have to say this course is very much driven by Bronwyn, and I totally respect her knowledge and her experience in this. I am the peanut gallery. I am you. I'm the one asking questions and having commentary in the background. But Bronwyn is the lead, most definitely in this course. I give full kudos to her. On that note, I'm going to hand over, and I will be back later.
Right. Morning, everybody. Those of you who've joined us for a few sessions or caught up on the recording so far will know that Karen and I thankfully live close to each other here in the Midlands. Don't have to pass any roadblocks to get from each other's houses. And we do the tag teaming thing, all protocols observed. So yeah, thanks for joining us today. Thank you for the support, and do bear with us. We have had a few sleepless nights, but here we are talking about session 6. And so please, bear with us today with the presenting. So today our session turns back to PFMA, or we're still obviously following the PFM cycle, but we're coming back to, in our South African context, national and provincial government and the PFMA cycle, as opposed to the local government cycle, which we will go back to again next week. So in session 4, we started with the high-level sort of legislative environment of the PFMA cycle, and then we compared that to the MFMA cycle in session 5. In session 6 now, we're circling back to PFMA again, but taking it into a more practical level of detail. And then in session 7, we'll do the same thing with the municipal finance, right? And then after that, we're going to start talking about the actual accounting in each of these cycles. So in our course outline, the outcomes that you would have seen in the, this is for the slides to arise. So the outcomes that you would have seen in the blurb for this section would be, get a high level understanding. You would have seen strategic planning cycle, budget cycle, financial management in terms of the PFMA day-to-day financial management, in-year reporting, annual reporting, the annual audit process, and then the life cycle of UIFW, and then condoning of irregular expenditure. If you have watched session 4, or if you attended session 4, you will have seen that it was actually really packed. And we made a decision not to squash too much of it and rush through it. and moved some of the last little bit of it, which was relevant to the Treasury regulations, into this session. So I've added into this session objectives the FM provisions of the Treasury regulations to discuss in this session as well. So I've come back to this course content and added those in after we finalized on session number 4. So it's been adjusted for that. In terms of our table of contents, we're going to run through the following areas. We're going to talk about practical implementation of PFM. Again, a reminder, bring us back to what is it that PFM is and how is what we're talking today fitting into that definition again. And then just to bring that into context. So, when we talk about, let's say, financial statement items or financial statement areas, if we put on our accountant hats, especially if you're an accountant in the private sector or if you're an auditor in the private sector and you're quite used to thinking of business cycles, for example, like revenue receipts. Everything to do with revenue receipts you cover in that cycle. And so when we talk about auditing revenue and receipts, we think about the accounting, we think about the disclosure, we think about laws and regulations, we think about fraud, we think about things pertinent to that cycle, right? So everything in that cycle. And so the way that this course is presented is going to be a little bit similar. All right, so I'm going to sort of highlight what the financial management sections are, but you will see that the course outcomes that we had 2 slides ago will be drip fed in between all of these sections. They won't be in sort of their own sections and you'll be able to see them clearly. By the end of looking at everything together holistically, you will be able to have those outcomes. But the table of contents is that we'll look at the financial management sections. Then I'm going to talk about the Treasury regulations. Then I'm going to talk about strategic planning. And I just want to remind you that towards, I think, the second last topic that we're going to cover in this series is actually performance management, where we're going to take strategic planning and we're going to look at it in more detail. So today is going to be covering the strategic planning process, but in the performance management section of our series, I'm going to take you through more detail when we talk about things like measurable objectives. What do we mean by measurable? When we talk about indicators, what do we mean by outcome indicators? What does that look like? What does an annual performance plan look like? What does an annual performance report look like? Okay, so that's not in today. Today we're talking about strategic planning as a cycle and as a process. The detail will be in performance management in another section. So we're going to talk about budgeting as well. So this budgeting, and this budgeting is specific to PFMA. When we do next week's MFMA, we'll do MFMA budget cycle. There isn't all that much actually to discuss about the budgeting. It's budgeted, right? But there's some key points to discuss. And then we're going to go through the concepts of financial management. So when we talk about public financial management, we're going to talk about financial management relating to revenue, expenditure, and asset. There are other financial management provisions that relate to liabilities, that relates to conditional grants, for example. And so this is supposed to give you a high-level understanding of those critical elements. As I say, every time we have one of these sessions, this is a high-level overview. You could spend absolutely months studying this stuff, and so it doesn't necessarily cover every ounce of detail you might expect to see, but it certainly gives you direction as to where to go and find some more detail that you might find yourself needing in practice somewhere. We are going to speak about procurement and contract management as well. Again, that is a topic that you could spend months on. So I'm literally taking you through the concepts of it, right? We're not going to unpack, thank you. We're not going to unpack the intricate details of especially the competitive bidding processes. I'm really just highlighting for those people who haven't had experience in the public sector what we mean by procurement and contract management, what it's supposed to cover, and what the ranges are that are current in terms of what National Treasury has published. Okay, we're going to talk about procurement and contract management. Then we're going to talk about what the PFM financial management provisions, whether they're coming from PFMA, whether they're coming from Treasury, what they say relating to accounting and reporting. Okay, so ordinarily we think about accounting and reporting, we actually think about annual financial statements. This takes it a bit deeper and says what kind of accounting and reporting are we talking about, and that extends to what you do monthly, quarterly, etc. Then a little bit touching on the auditing and assurance part of it, because remember when we go back to the PFM cycle, we've got gathering information, we've got the budget formulation, we've got budget approval, we've got budget implementation, we've got monitoring and evaluation, and we've got reporting, and we've got assurance. So I'm just bringing in that assurance level as well. And then we're going to have a more detailed discussion about irregular expenditure.
I hope that you enjoyed that video. For more of our webinar videos, go to www.accountingacademy.co.za. Thank you and have a lovely day.